Hello and welcome back to the John and Adrian podcast. If you guys aren't subscribed, please subscribe. Trying to get more than one subscriber.
Isn't it you?
Shut up, John.
I'm not even subscribed. We should have two, and we don't.
We do. Let's get right into NBA. The Heat lead the Clippers 2-1, and the Lakers lead the Nuggets 2-1 or 2-0. The Lakers destroyed the Nuggets in Game 1, and then AD in Game 2 with the clutch 3-pointer to win the game. I mean, neither series is over, but even though the Lakers are up 2-0, I'm still terrified of the Nuggets. Mainly because I know if we go up 3-1, the series isn't over. Like, they still have a shot to win.
My biggest thing, I'm not necessarily scared about the Nuggets. I'm more scared that LeBron James completely disappeared in the fourth quarter.
It was all AD in the fourth.
It was all Anthony Davis.
Right. Yeah, so, I mean, up 2-0 in a series, it's not bad. It's not 4-0, so there's not really much to say about the NBA because there just wasn't.
There was only two games.
There's only two games, right?
On the flip side, the Heat finally lost a game to the Celtics, but the Celtics had to have 4 players score 20 or more points in order to make this happen. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a trend.
Well, the Celtics did take the Heat into overtime in Game 1, so I mean the Heat. It's not an easy give me win of a series, so I don't know. I'm more scared of the Heat than the Clippers, so I'm hoping that the Clippers win out the series because I feel like
Celtics.
Yeah, the Celtics, because I feel like the Lakers could handle the Celtics way easier than the Heat. I don't know why.
I don't want a Lakers Celtics because that's like
it's boring. It's boring. Yeah,
every single finals since 1980. Not even 1950.
Right.
Jerry West and the Celtics. It's like I don't want it. I don't want it.
I don't want it either. But I feel like the Celtics are the easier team to beat. The Heat are just on fire. Like,
wow, what a great pun. This is the quality content that our viewers come here for.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. And they stay for that. They stay for that content too. We already talked about the Thursday night football game, which we got right. And John, do you want to tell them what our record was this week in pick'ems?
14-2.
We killed it. All right. Killed it. If it wasn't for the shitty Vikings and the Saints blowing, we would be 16-0.
Raiders.
Okay, let's just go game by game. Bears, Giants. The big story out of this game was Saquon tearing his ACL and he's out for the rest of the year. That's terrible. Is it not?
Yeah, that sucks.
I mean,
the Bears are 2-0 and no one cares. It's
no,
all Saquon Barkley tore his ACL.
Well, I mean, when did he tear it? Was it like before halftime? Like,
he had 4 carries for 28 yards. So, giving that offense, I would say he probably tore it in the first quarter, but I'm not sure.
I mean, he only had 6 yards in the last game, so.
Yeah, but how many carries did he have in the last game?
Like 15.
Yeah, so it probably happened in the first quarter.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so the Giants are probably dead in the water. I don't think they'll be able to.
Mm-hmm.
Who do they have as their Dion Lewis?
Dion Lewis.
Put
some respect on that former Patriots name, bro.
Dion Lewis.
He's a guy that's the former Patriot, former Titan. So he's not even good enough to make the Patriots backup team. He's on the 3rd string Patriots team.
That is right. Dang. I don't know. The Bears are 2-0, and it just doesn't make any sense in my mind because it's like.
Well, who do they play week 1?
They played the Lions, the blow a lead Lions, which
Yeah,
We'll get to
so it
that
was a
Lions
division
game.
game. They won. Now they're playing a bad team. They won. Eventually, I mean, they aren't going to win out, but
They're gonna lose
they
next
could
week.
make the playoffs based off of an easy schedule
Right,
and get
right,
back 7 teams to make the playoffs now.
right. So there's really not much to say in this Giants Bears game other than Saquon's out for the rest of the year, and Jordan's gonna have to find a new running back. Which it sucks for Jordan. Honestly, a bunch of fantasy players went down this week, but we'll
Yeah.
get to that later. I don't know, John. We can't, in good faith, let Jordan trade Saquon. You just got to take the lumps.
I'll let him do it. If she's dumb enough to go through with it, then she deserves it.
Fair enough. Eagles Rams game. The Rams absolutely destroyed the Eagles. It wasn't. There's not much to talk about this game either. The Eagles
This
are bad.
is not why I pay for cable, okay?
Yeah.
I'm bound to get rid of my ESPN subscription if this is the type of quality game that I'm going to be getting.
The Eagles are just doo-doo. Carson Wentz is doo-doo. He threw 2 interceptions that game.
What happened to him? He was MVP like 3 years ago.
I think it was last year before he got broken.
No, it was the year they went to the Super Bowl.
Was it? Oh, yeah. And then he got broken and the big Richard won it. I think it's just the Eagles. Honestly, if we're going to talk about fantasy here for a second, I'm probably going to try to get rid of Zach Ertz and trade him or something because it's just the Eagles are not.
I'll take him.
Yeah. I don't know. I just have zero faith in the Eagles. Like, there's just nothing there. It's Falcons Cowboys. This game
was 2 horrible coaches going at it. The worst coach managed to win. I don't understand what was
put some
going on.
respect on Dan Quinn's
You had
name.
Mike McCarthy he wasted a timeout with like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They were down by a score. He wasted a timeout. Then he challenged a play and it didn't go his way, so he lost another timeout. And then on a 2nd and 12, I think, he wasted another timeout with like 3.5 minutes still left. And so he has no timeouts, and the Falcons should just run out the clock and win this game. But no, the Falcons are like, hey, well, you know that rule that you can't touch the ball on an onside kick until it goes 10 yards? That must apply to the receiving team too, huh? So they have 3 players just run past the ball. Like, go get it. What are you doing?
No. Are you talking about the onside kick there?
The onside kick,
yeah. That kick. All right, we got to put some respect on Greg Zuerlein. Greg the leg. That was a beautiful ball. All right, but it's 100% on the Falcons on like hands team. They boxed out the Cowboys, but they didn't block anyone. Like, you know what I mean? Like they tried to block, but
their way. That's
they didn't block them. They just ran in front of them and hoped that they would stop running. Right? Like it shows. I don't know what it shows. It just shows like a lack of coaching, I guess. Like
whoever their special teams coach is terrible. Like he didn't even teach them the basic rules of the game. Like,
right. Well, it also shows bad like game time decision on those players, right? Like obviously if you're on the hands team, they like tell you, they should have told you the 10-yard rule, right? But it's like if it's dribbling towards the 10-yard line and you can just come over and lay on top of it, before it slowly crawls towards the 10-yard line, do it. Like, what are you doing? Just stop the ball. Like, all you have to do is stop the ball from hitting the 10-yard line mark. Like, oh God, it's frustrating too because like I think this was the biggest lead the Falcons have blown since the 28-3 debacle. So it's like I think this is, what's his name? What's the head coach for the Falcons? I'm blanking.
Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn. Okay, he's definitely in the hot seat with a couple other coaches, and it's already week 2. Like, if you're already on the hot seat in week 2, how bad of a coach are you?
pretty bad. 0-2, pretty bad.
Right, right,
Especially in a division that's at like if he was in the NFC East, right? Or the
right.
AFC East, my bad. Even the NFC East, right?
Yeah,
0-2 is still all right, we can come back. But when you're in the NFC South,
you're
the
done.
Bucks and the Saints aren't gonna let you go 0-2 and have a shot, right? Like if Christian McCaffrey didn't get hurt, the Panthers have a better shot than you right now.
Right. Well, to be fair, like offensively, they balled out, right? Like
Yeah,
39 points. That's really
their
good offense,
defense gave up 40, and then their
right?
special teams gave up the ball to score the game-winning field goal.
Right. It's like, all right, offense, you guys are doing great, but you realistically, you can't ask more than 25 points a game. 25 points a game in my mind is like enough points to win you an NFL game, right? It's
Matt
just it's on the
Ryan,
defense,
270 and 4 touchdowns. He's playing amazing.
right?
Your
No turnovers.
second option had 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had all 4 of his touchdowns were to 3 different players. He's spreading the ball around. Like he's not forcing it to Julio because Julio's hurt, and you don't want to see him do that. Todd Gurley had a decent game. He had way too many carries, but he had 61
Well,
yards.
yeah.
So they're
This
running
is
well, but it's
my
the
favorite
defense
stat.
and the coaching.
Yeah, it's 100% on the coaching. There's something has to change. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but for their sake, it should be soon. Like this should not be happening. My favorite stat from the week, one of the obscure random stats that ESPN or CBS likes to pull out of their butts is teams that score what was it? Teams that score like 30 points, or that's what it was. Like teams that score 4 touchdowns with 0 interceptions or 0 turnovers are 444 to 0, like winning the game up until this game, right? Like this is the first game in NFL history where a team scored as many points as the Falcons did and lost and had 0 turnovers, right? So it's like, how do you do something that's never been done in NFL history that spans back like 100 years, right? It's
Is that passing touchdowns or just?
I don't honestly. I'd have to look at the random stat.
If it's just touchdowns in general, then by that standard, the Cowboys kept that streak alive. Right. They have 4 touchdowns, but they have 5 touchdowns, but 4 rushing, 1 passing, and I don't see any interceptions, and it doesn't show fumble stats.
Right.
But I'm assuming there weren't any. I watched the 4th quarter of that game, and I didn't see a fumble, but obviously there's 3 other quarters. But so by that stats logic, the Cowboys had to win this game too, right? Neither way, there was no way either one of these teams were going to lose the game, and obviously one of them had to. I guess a tie, which 1 point away from a tie is about as close as you can get. So
right, it's nearly. I don't know. It's the Falcons. I don't know Georgia. If you're Georgia, if you live in the state of Georgia and you're a fan of Georgia sports teams, pick a different state, pick a different team. Like it's not good over there at all. Yeah, find somewhere else.
Did Georgia opt out?
No, they're part of the SEC. Nice. So they're going to get destroyed by Alabama, LSU, and every other SEC team. So. Yeah,
those are gonna be their only 2 losses. Okay, they're gonna dominate the rest of the season.
Don't get too far ahead of yourself.
Goes 10-2 every year and gets this top 6, but not top 4.
No, don't get too ahead of yourself now. They get destroyed. They get picked on. It's not.
Jake Fromm's gone. It's okay.
I mean, they got some good prospects in the works, but it's like. You're playing Alabama. No matter what, you're always gonna have an L.
Once it doesn't matter.
They haven't beaten Alabama since 2008, John. 2008.
Okay. Records are made to be broken. Streaks meant to be lost. Okay, they're gonna do it eventually.
Right.
A dozen years is not even that long.
Okay. I'm on week 4.
Panthers Bucks.
The Panthers are dead for the rest of the year. They don't have Christian McCaffrey. You need to find. Oh no, Christian McCaffrey's only out
Injured
for.
reserve. He's
Yeah,
going back. I'm just throwing him on injured reserve.
you're
We'll be
right.
fine.
You're right. He's going to be out for I think a minimum of 3 weeks or 2 to 3.
I think it's 4 to 6.
Okay, is that what it is? So he's going to go on injured reserve, and then he's going to be
Mm-hmm.
out for like another week. So 4 L's for the next couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks. I mean, Mike Evans did good for me on fantasy. That's all I got.
I don't. Him and Drew Brees are both showing their age.
Right. I'm.
This is 100% Leonard Fournette winning the game. In
Right.
my opinion.
Which I got screwed over because I started Randall Jones, but it was Leonard Fournette all day. Right. And this is another thing.
Got 8.3 points. Not
Right.
bad.
Right. Well, I don't have him in our fantasy league, but another one, and I have Drew Brees in another fantasy league, and I'm 100% gonna try to trade Drew Brees and pick up Cam Newton.
He's just not a bad game, bro. We'll get to that.
Whatever. Fantasy wise, he's on the decline, for sure. Yeah, Tom Brady's definitely showing his age. Bruce Arians, it's the Bruce Arian offense, so expect a pick or an interception from Tom Brady every single game.
30.
Right.
30. That's what he's going for.
He's trying to beat the record. He's going for 35. Thank you very much.
Tom Brady said he could play till he's 45. That means 45 touchdowns, 45 interceptions.
I love that. See, even here's the thing. It looks like Christian McCaffrey. Did you watch this game? Because I caught
the Niner game was going on.
Okay, all right. That's what I thought. Okay, yeah. Christian McCaffrey looks like he was leading the Panthers like competitively in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, oh wait, no, that was in the fourth quarter. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
So we got hurt at the end of the game, pretty much.
He got hurt because I remember there was like 5 minutes left in this game, and I got a notification on fantasy saying he got a touchdown.
And then the next thing was he was hurt, right? He got hurt on that touchdown play. I remember.
Oh,
okay,
no.
Right. He like dove in and they clipped his ankles or something. So he'll be fine. He's not in the situation like Saquon where he's done for the year, which in most leagues it was like Saquon. No, it was Christian McCaffrey, Saquon.
McCaffrey 1, Saquon 2.
Right. So
these next 4 weeks are gonna be tough for the people with the top 2 picks.
At least you're not the number 2 pick. All right. Like
Jordan was the number 2 pick,
and he still got Saquon. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but look at that. I was the 1 pick, and I'm best team in our league, and he was the 2nd pick.
The worst team.
By far the worst team.
All right. So 49ers Jets. I feel like you have a lot to say for this game.
This game was Massacre at the Meadowlands. Okay, you had 4 injured players on the Niners going into this game, and then you walk out with I think
basically your entire starting
12? It was like half of our starting roster was hurt. Jimmy Garoppolo's hurt. Raheem Mostert's hurt. I'm just looking through the list.
Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas both out for the entire year. Torn ACLs.
What's his name? The linebacker Drake Greenlaw got hurt. And then on top of that, you going into the game, you had Deebo Samuel out, Richard Sherman out, George Kittle out. So yeah, it's just every significant starter except like Joe Staley.
The non-existent wide receiver core.
Joe Staley wasn't hurt. We have Mohamed Sanu. He's not hurt.
Because they just signed him. Did he play?
I don't think so.
He did not. He didn't. Yeah, he did not play.
Kyle Juszczyk isn't hurt. Let's go.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
And then our rookie
wide receiver.
No, not him. The Javon Kinlaw is not hurt. Neither is most of our secondary besides Richard Sherman, which is nice. Quan Alexander is healthy still. But,
you guys only won this game because you were playing the Jets. If you played any of
the Jets are bad. The Jets are so bad. It's the score doesn't even show like
how bad of a game it really was.
Blowout than this. We were up 31-6, I believe. And one of the Jets had made 2 field goals, and one of them was off of an interception Nick Mullins, our backup quarterback, threw. inside our own 30-yard line, right? Like you
Right.
have it that close and you still only get a field goal. And then like with I don't know, like 2 minutes left, I think they score a touchdown at the end of the game, and it's like,
Garbage
why?
time.
I have the 49ers defense on fantasy. Don't score a touchdown. This is useless. Stop. I'm already gonna have to put the entire defense on injured reserve. Okay, I can't afford to barely lose this game.
Which you're probably gonna need to pick up a new defense, John. It's just
I am.
the entire 49ers defense, or like half of it, got murdered. And it wasn't even like contact injuries, was it? It was just like
Most of them weren't. Or most of them. So I believe Nick Bosa's was. I don't think Solomon Thomas's was, unless I got them mixed up.
right.
Um,
I heard reports.
Garoppolo's wasn't. I don't think.
I don't know what happened. He was limping majority of that game, was he not?
Mm-hmm.
Oops. I heard reports saying that a bunch of the 49ers players were blaming the turf at MetLife for like
I heard that too.
how bad it was. Armstrad tweeted out like the turf at MetLife is trash, 2020 whack, which half of that statement is very true. We're waiting on the other half. They're still so, and the best part is, guess where the 49ers are playing next week, John?
MetLife Stadium.
Yep, they get to go right back to the field that murdered half their roster. I don't.
The Giants should win this game.
They should, but I don't think they will.
I don't think they will. Like, after losing Saquon, I don't.
It's gonna be an interesting game only because it's two like JV teams playing each other, and whose like, JV team is better?
Half of our team is hurt, and half of their team is hurt.
I don't think half of their team.
Their team meaning
is Saquon. Yeah, right? It's just Saquon, and Saquon is literally a player that like 50%. They cannot operate without. So, yeah, that game is going to be really interesting. I think next week we're going to have, or on Friday's episode, we're going to have a really hard time picking the games. And we'll be lucky if we even get like half the games right, just with how badly the injuries.
It's difficult to know which teams are going to recover from these injuries and which teams aren't. They're just done.
Right. I woke up around like 11, so like halfway through the 10 o'clock games, and just looking at my phone at how many injuries had occurred, I was like, wow, it's like the day hasn't even started and like half the league is already dead. The Broncos Steelers game, the Steelers won this game, but
okay, so I'm looking at the score and I am very much inclined to believe that the Broncos would have won had Drew Lock not been hurt.
Right.
I didn't watch the game though, so I don't know. Do you know? Are you more educated on this than me?
Well, Drew Lock suffered a shoulder injury after I was talking. Jordan was like, I think Jordan was talking about the game last night, and he was like, Devin Bush laid out Drew Lock. And I was like,
oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. That.
So I'm assuming it was Devin Bush that murdered Drew Lock. Yeah, he suffered a shoulder injury, which shoulder injuries are finicky, especially for quarterbacks. They say 2 to 6 weeks, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's out for 4, maybe 5. So the Broncos are basically dead for their next 2-3 games, right? Like, and there's people were like,
Jeff Driscoll isn't terrible. I remember he was the backup quarterback that the Lions used to have. I don't think it was last season, but
he did just as good as Big Ben.
Thanksgiving game, like 2 years ago or something.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't think the Broncos are dead in the water. I think it's just going to be a lot harder to win games because Drew Lock is just, a better quarterback than Jeff Driscoll.
Philip. Oh, what's their running back name? Philip Lindsay. Is he hurt?
Yeah, he has turf toe, something like that. So he's out for the next 2 to 3 weeks. But they still have Melvin Gordon and Royce Freeman. But still, I think they'd rather have Philip Lindsay in there as well. Yeah. Oh, another big injury from this game is Courtland Sutton. He got hurt. I think he tore his ACL, and he's out for the rest of the year. But I'm not sure about that one. There's so many injuries. I feel like we're gonna get like
7 torn ACLs. So
Right, I'm trying to find. Yeah, Cortland Sutton has suffered from a torn ACL and will miss the rest of the season.
This remainder of the season.
So he's one of the 7. 2 of them being 49er players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's go.
Both of them being 49ers defensive linemen.
Right.
Well, Solomon Thomas.
You guys signed Ziggy Azai?
Ziggy Ansah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should make up for it, right? You can feel better. It's okay. Feel better. It's fine.
He's more of a necessity now than like, oh hey, we could use him. It's like, no, we need you. Okay?
Come here.
We're not gonna have a defensive line if we don't get you.
All right, which I'm surprised you only signed him for like a 1-year deal worth $3 million, which I would assume he'd push for more money. I don't know the cap situation on the 49ers, but if you got like,
he knows he's bad,
right? But like, I mean, you could probably push for $5 million if both of your starting defensive linemen got are out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Like, but you have them.
Oh, D4, that who else is out? I've completely. He hasn't even. Him and Debo haven't even played all season.
Oh.
So our only defensive linemen who are playing now from the original starter is Eric Armstead.
Right. Well, no. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because Kinlaw was backing up Solomon Thomas.
Okay. Yeah. Jags, Titans. This was a good game. The Jaguars are definitely better than
we thought.
The only reason they lost this game is on a Gardner Minshew interception late in the 4th. Like, they were making a comeback. Yeah. And yeah, the Jaguars are better than we think. It's just the Titans are a better team, right? Like, the Jaguars, if they played the 49ers, they would destroy them, I think. Right? Like, it's just...
Yeah, I like seeing that Derrick Henry's going to have a full season finally instead of just popping
Didn't he
up
get hurt
in October. Did he get hurt?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
I just was looking at the stats and saw he played.
Okay, you know what? Yeah. All right. Yeah, he's showing up. He's not having his 100-yard games yet, but that comes in October. So
we had a 100-yard game last week.
Oh, did he? Okay, then he's
yeah. He's good. He's got 200 yards on the season.
He's good.
He's averaging 100 yards a game. What a guy.
Which, actually, my favorite stat from last week, week 1, was there were 50 wide receivers in the NFL that had more receiving yards than the entire 49ers receiving core.
Yeah.
That made me so happy to read.
Our best receivers, George Kittle, and our second best is Debo, and our third best is Kyle Juszczyk, our fullback. So, not surprised.
And half of those people, or a majority of those people, are injured.
All of them, except our fullback, are hurt.
George Kittle didn't play in that game either. So, I don't think he's going to come back next week either. So, that's going to be interesting.
I hope he doesn't. At this point, I'm like, we need to just
vibe.
Our injured
because come week 6, it's going to be a hellhole.
Yeah, come week 6, we need to have everyone healthy that we can. Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas are done, but we need everybody else back if we want to have a chance this season.
You guys could
without Nick Bosa, I don't think we'll win the Super Bowl, right? A lot of people are saying having us going there. Without him, I don't think.
To be fair, you guys could probably squeak into the playoffs and win a game if everything goes back to being right.
Right now, we'll probably be the second or third best wild card, and then after that, we'll maybe win 1 or 2 games in the playoffs, depending on who we play. How it slides out with the 7 seeds, I don't know.
The 7 seeds play the 2 seed. So, I mean, yeah, depending on who the 2 seed is. Lions, Packers. The Lions blew another blew a lead. They were up 14-3 at the end of the first quarter, and then got absolutely murdered by my boy Aaron Jones. He murdered the Lions in this game.
Matthew Stafford, so much for being the comeback. More like blow a lead king, honestly. What is this season start?
So Matt Patricia is another guy that I've been doubting, and you were like, "No, give it
If
time."
he can't beat division rivals,
John, I'm telling you,
it's time
he should be go. He needs to go.
Okay, but I don't think anyone should be firing their coach in the middle of the season, okay? Because if you do that, you're going to have an interim coach, and that's just a waste of potential time to be rebuilding, right? Like, it's
Right.
literally you've thrown away the season. So I think we need to hold on to him, just tough it out to the end of the season, and then let him go. And there's a couple coaches that probably need to be let go. Some of them having just been signed this year.
Who do you
But some of
wait?
them,
Who do you
I would
think?
say Mike McCarthy should be let go.
He probably won't because he's already
He
won a
won't,
game.
but he should. Okay, he's won a game that he shouldn't have won.
right. And the amount of
He's
talent
won
on
a
that
game
team
against the one other guy who should
See,
be
but
fired.
the thing about the Lions that is so frustrating is like there's talent there. Like Patricia has talent on this roster. It's just he physically can't win. Like it makes zero sense. Like he has Matthew Stafford, he has Darion Swift, Kenny Johnson, and even Adrian Peterson, right? He
TJ
has
Hawkinson, Marvin Jones, Danny Amendola. On the defense, they drafted Jeff Okuda. They have Jamie Collins, which was his big guy back when he was on the Patriots. They've got Christian Jones, who's good. They've got Rod Davis, Danny Shelton. They've got
right. Like it's a roster that on paper you'll go, all right, you know, they're not winning the Super Bowl, but they should be winning games. They should be beating
competitive.
Right. And it's like they're not. They're really not. They'll beat you in the first quarter, but after that,
this is what I don't understand is last season they were 3-0-1 before Stafford got hurt. So you would think this season with Stafford, they're gonna like they, in my mind, other than losing Darius Slay, they only got better, right? And they aren't. They're playing so much worse than they did last season.
And there's no real way to explain it either. It's just they're worse, right?
Yeah, they're just playing worse. There's no possible way to define it.
And I guess, right, well, honestly, they should have beaten the Bears, but, you know, maybe you can give them slack for, well, they had to play a hot Packers team, but it's like, I mean...
One game I don't think would call you hot, okay?
Right, but it's like they
scored... I'm hot, let's go.
right. They scored 40 points, but, you know, whatever. Like, yeah, you're right. They're not considered hot, but, like, you know, a Packers team that can destroy you by either throwing to... what's his name? Devontae Adams 500 times or running it down your throat with Aaron Jones, right? You pick your poison. You either defend the pass or you defend the run. And whichever, that's another thing. Fantasy wise, you got screwed over this week, but I made out like a king. All right. And it's going to be happening like that all season. One of us is just going to get screwed over.
Just back and forth.
Right. It's just what weeks. Yeah, the Packers destroyed the Lions. There's really nothing to say. Matt Patricia should get fired. That's all I got for that.
So now, Bills Dolphins, again, not much to say. The Bills are better.
The Bills are better, but the Dolphins, surprisingly, were trying to make a comeback.
Yeah, they kept competitive.
Which I was not expecting at all. I honestly, maybe the Dolphins are better. I don't know.
It's the division rival. That's what this is the Dolphins aren't going to get blown out or dominated by the Bills, the Jets, or the Patriots.
Nah, they're going to destroy the Jets.
maybe the Jets. But this is more of a show of how well organizations can understand each other despite the gaps between their talent levels, right? Which you would hope would show in the Packers-Lions division game, which it didn't, which I think is another reason Matt Patricia could probably... I agree with you, Matt Patricia should likely be let go at the end of the season. If
I've been saying this is the beginning of last season.
By a division rival.
And honestly, after his first season in Detroit, I was like, get this man out of here. He is not helping that city at all whatsoever.
Speaking of people who need to get out of their cities, we move on to the Vikings Colts game, and
Kirk Cousins
needs to go.
Okay. remember a couple of weeks before the season started, or was it right before the season started, where Kirk Cousins said, "If he dies, he dies.
I die.
He dies, he dies." Right? Referring to the COVID. Eh, And ever since he said that, he's been terrible, and it really shouldn't have any correlation to his play. But I just love it. Like, well, since he said these words about the ongoing COVID pandemic, he's been absolutely terrible. Therefore, that's the main reason why he's bad. Not just he's playing terrible because he's a average quarterback that can't win against teams that go above 500.
Which the Colts aren't a team. I mean, they're like
They'll go 8-8, 9 and.
But with Phillip Rivers at the helm, I would not expect them to have a winning record. So if they do pull off a winning record, I'd be interested to see if it's because Phillip Rivers still has gas in the tank or if they're doing it in spite of him.
This is another game that suffered the injury bug as well. Malik Hooker I believe he's out for the rest of the season. I don't think it was an ACL tear, but he's out for the rest of the season. And then on the Vikings, it was, what's his name? Kendricks? Yeah, Kendricks. I believe he has like a torn pec and he's out for the rest of the year. I have to check this. Hold up.
Throw it all away.
It's Anthony Barr. My bad. It was Anthony Barr.
Never mind. He doesn't matter.
It was Barr, which I don't even see him on the stat sheet. So that's why I thought it was Kendricks, because I was like, it was a linebacker.
Relevant.
Right. But I don't even see Barr on the stat sheet, so it really doesn't. Yeah, the boy been getting wrecked on. Which, I don't know, like, we got this game wrong, right? We picked the Vikings to win.
But I'm never picking the Vikings again.
Right, like, they've lost my trust. Like, I genuinely thought they would be better than what they've been. They got blown out by the Packers, and then they let the Colts come in and just absolutely destroy them. Jonathan Taylor came in and wrecked house. Like, he carved up.
The next time I pick the Vikings is going to be when they play the Lions. That's the only game I'll ever pick the Vikings to win.
You know what? This kind of screwed me in the end, because I was one of those people in fantasy that were betting on Akeem Hines after his week 1 performance, and he only caught one ball for 4 yards. So, yikers. I mean, to be fair, I'm still on the hype train, all right? Akeem Hines is going to come back, all right? He's going to get some touches eventually. Just he's probably going to do it on the waiver wire, not on my team. Because he's the boy's getting cut, all right? I had a killer week in fantasy, and the only thing I messed up on was my flex position, because I put Akeem Hines in there. Right. Which I still won, but it's whatever. I mean, it's not whatever. Akeem Hines is getting cut for his terrible play.
All right. Next is Washington versus Arizona. Washington snapped that win streak. Okay.
Damn. They're now tied for number 1 in the NFC, the
Dallas Cowboys, which they should be on top still at 1-1. The Dallas Cowboys should not have won that game.
They should have, but I mean, I guess it shows that the team is better, right? Like,
okay, so Dwayne Haskins is starting. Is Alex Smith not back from injury, or is he just choosing to go with Dwayne Haskins?
He's back, but I don't think he's been active for a single game yet. So yeah, they've chosen to stay with Dwayne Haskins for the foreseeable future until he has a bad game. Which, I mean, the Cardinals, they're a good team this year, and I think they're gonna make it to the playoffs mainly based off their schedule, because I believe they were the last team in the NFC last year. And that means you're playing all the bad teams, right? So they're going to have a really easy schedule.
3 easy wins right there.
So
and then they've already shown that they can beat division rivals. So that's probably another 3 wins that I expect them to split with everyone in their division. So that's 6-3 right there. And then it's just up to the other divisions that they play, which I don't know. I know it's the AFC East.
Which so all of those games, and the Dolphins. Those are all winnable. They should win those games.
They're all winnable. And then I don't know what NFC division we play. Probably another winnable division.
yeah, the Cardinals are going to be good this year, even though I don't like that. Right, like, Cardinals should be at the bottom. Then Ravens Texans. Ravens won.
Was this even a game? I mean, honestly, looking at.
Well, if you look at the score, it was. If you look at like Lamar's stats, people are like, he only had one touchdown and he didn't throw or run for a touchdown. So people were like, oh, the decline of Lamar or whatever. It's like he's doo doo. I'm like, no, he just.
Mark Ingram just had a good game. Him and Gus Edwards just did pretty good today.
Right. It's like, I mean, they didn't really need Lamar to have a game, right? Like,
yeah.
It's like
Lamar Jackson had a bad game by his standards, and they still scored double the points the Texans did. Like, that's just a testament to how bad the Texans are, honestly.
What? I'm trying to account because it's 33-16, so I'm trying to figure out the scores. Obviously, Lamar threw for a touchdown. Mark Ingram ran for a touchdown, so that's 2 touchdowns. And they kicked a lot of field goals. Was there a defensive touchdown in here
3.
as well? Is that what that is? A defensive touchdown?
They have 4 field goals.
Is that?
So that's 12 points right there. So that put them at 26. And then they have 2 other touchdowns that aren't accounted for.
So I'm assuming defensive touchdowns, right? Has to be. I don't know.
Marcus Peters has an interception.
So maybe he had a pick six.
Maybe special teams.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, Deshaun Watson. Please get Deshaun Watson out of Houston. Anything, or put some like. I don't know. I know he signed that contract and he's stuck there, but like, at what cost, Deshaun? At what cost? You lost your best receiver.
I was very surprised by that contract because I thought for sure he was going to leave in free agency, which he didn't.
He got the bread. That's all. I feel like that's what mattered to him at that moment: getting the bread, getting the bag, securing the bag. But at the same time, it's like, why though? Like, Houston is just
like, another team wasn't going to give him the bag if he left in free agency.
Oh, maybe not as much, but like, you would be on a winning team, right? Like,
for sure would have gotten as. I think. Imagine if Deshaun Watson got signed by the Steelers in the offseason and they let Big Ben just retire.
Right.
You think? I think they would be a
great team.
Pulled out. They say, all right, Minka, you're gone. Juju, you're gone. James Conner, you're gone. We're paying Deshaun Watson.
Maybe not Juju, but Minka they probably keep. James is definitely gone because they obviously it showed like Sneal is a good running back. They could have cut Duck and Mason Rudolph, right? Like they don't need those backup quarterbacks now. Actually, they probably would have kept Duck and cut Mason, but like they could have trimmed their roster so much better because like now they don't have to worry about an injury from Big Ben.
Juju might have been willing to take a pay cut to
right
stay there.
Just to be able to play with a great quarterback. Well, Big Ben was a great quarterback, but at his current state,
to keep his good quarterback.
Right. So
Minka's probably the only one they'd have to let go.
Probably. He'd
be asking for a lot.
And he wouldn't care. The Chargers-Chiefs game, Patrick Mahomes technically didn't have a good game. Like 300 yards, 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns.
Right, like it's not a good game by his standards. It's the same thing with Lamar Jackson. It's not a good game by his standards, but it's like it's a good game, you know. The only reason I feel like this game was close is because the Packers or the Chiefs offense just wasn't as going. Like, it wasn't going as it normally
wasn't going.
Right. So, and then on top of that, the defense wasn't ready to play against Justin Herbert, which Justin Herbert had a okay debut, but I don't think he's going to do better in the next game he plays, right? Like, the only reason he played as good as he did was because they were prepared for Tyrod Taylor, which Tyrod Taylor is still the starter. He has a
much different play style than Justin Herbert.
Right. And here's the thing about this game. The only reason he started, he only knew he was going to start like 5 seconds before the game started. Like, it was literally a game time decision because Tyrod Taylor got hurt before the game started with like a chest injury because he's been dealing with like a rib injury. I don't know. And they like injected him with something to try to help him heal, and like his body didn't like
these droids. Don't tell nobody.
Yeah, right. His body didn't like it, so like he reacted funky to it, so they had to take him to the hospital and whatnot. So Justin Herbert got the start. Like
the
literally,
pose you gave me to fix my broken rib broke my chest, guys.
Right. Like, so he started like literally right before the game started. They told him, "You're starting. Let's go." Yeah, he had an okay game. I'm still doubting Justin Herbert. I don't think he's gonna be too great.
This game makes me have a lot more confidence in Anthony Lynn, the Chargers
right, the coach.
Like, I thought he was a good coach before this, obviously, but which is another thing I hate is like the Chargers. Like, I hate them, but I love Anthony Lynn and I love a bunch of the players that he brought in. But their organization is just bad.
Right. It's just they can't win at all, or they can, but it's like barely.
It won't.
Right. Like they could have won this game entirely, but they just didn't. Right.
Yeah.
Patriots Seahawks. For a moment there. I was all in on the Patriots for a moment, and then
if they had pulled this off, then I'd be like, I am putting my entire faith in Bill Belichick
from now on.
Rest of my life.
From now on,
go eat at Subway. I'm eating at Subway.
Right. I was ready to start cutting the sleeves off my shirts. I was all the way. I was like, I had my scissors ready. I had my shirts ready. I was like, come on, let's do it.
But Russell Wilson's
they should have. You know, John. You know what they should have done? They should have thrown the ball at the 1 yard line. Big brain move. Big brain move.
They never see it coming.
They never see it coming. What do you think? They're gonna be suckers like we were and throw the ball at the 1 yard line? No, they wouldn't be suckers. But alas, they decided to run, and Cam got stuffed. Which, to even get to that point where it's literally a one-play game, like that play wins or loses you that game, and it lost them that game.
It's very impressive still.
Right, which it's all in the back of Cam Newton. Like if you can get Cam, like if you can, this is my big takeaway.
This game is in your hands. Be the MVP player that you want to be, and he didn't do it. Okay.
Right, so but John, he accounted for 444 of the offensive yards.
Mm-hmm. And it's just that one play.
Right.
Crunch. It's LeBron James, right? He's gonna get you 45 in the first 3 quarters, then he's gone the fourth quarter.
Right. He couldn't pull off the 3-pointer to steal the game. It's like it's one of those where it's like he literally carried you to the finals, and he just couldn't sink the final shot in Game 7. Yeah. Right. Like, but
which, to Cam Newton's credit, though, I mean,
he's carrying this team.
Julian Edelman is the next best player on his team. And Julian Edelman's great, but Julian Edelman is dependent, obviously, on Cam Newton's play.
But also, they didn't have their their running back, James White, I believe was his name. Sadly, I'm not sure the situation, but I believe his father passed away, and his mother is in critical condition due to a car crash. So he did not play that game because he was at the hospital, which is very sad. But it is what it is, I suppose.
Yeah.
But if this is my main takeaway from this game, the Patriots are not bad. They're not. Bad. They're regardless. They should be very bad because their defense literally lost half of their starting roster.
People think that they were going to be bad because Tom Brady left, and you're like, no, it's their defense. They have nobody. They have 3. They have where they have.
They lost like 6 players.
They have Jason McCourty, and they have Lawrence Guy, right?
Right.
Like, those are the 3 main guys remaining from last season, and they're still
very good. And also, if you can pick up Cam Newton in fantasy, do it. If you have like a Drew Brees, like a lesser tier quarterback in fantasy, and you can somehow pull off Cam Newton, do it. Like, he's gonna be a stud. I'm all in on the Cam Newton train now. Yeah, it's just the Seahawks played a good game. That the Patriots played a way better game in my mind. Like, it's just like it showed.
In my mind, it's Russell Wilson is a lot better than Cam Newton.
Right.
That's what it came down to.
Right.
Cam Newton's not bad. That's not a knock on Cam Newton. But when Russell Wilson is arguably the best quarterback in the league, and Cam Newton is arguably top half, top 10, that's a significant difference in the NFL.
And yeah, I saw a bunch of people being like, talking about like Cam Newton was a free agent for like what 80 plus days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, why did people let him fall to the Patriots? Like, I get it.
Well,
People,
you gotta look at.
well, yeah, majority of the league has quarterbacks, but it's like
Yeah, they
the
had a quarterback
Bears.
locked up.
The Bears are a team. Like, there's teams that you look at them and go, why? Why didn't you do it? Like, why didn't you do it, you idiot? But to be fair, I don't think Cam Newton would have been as good on like the Bears, mainly due to the coaching, right? Like,
Yeah.
Bill Belichick is a coach that can coach players to
In
their
my
fullest
mind,
potential.
the team that was most likely to get him would have been the Washington football team with Ron Rivera and, you
Honestly.
know, having Dwayne Haskins obviously needing to sit. Alex Smith probably isn't going to be back. In my mind, they were the team most likely to get Cam Newton, and I don't think he'd be playing as well as he is right now.
Right. If he was on any other team, he would be terrible. It's just that he got on the best team for him, right? And looking at it now and looking back at the past, people are assuming he'd do as good as he does now with a different team, which sadly I don't think would be the case. It's just, you'd hope he does the same production on another team, but he probably wouldn't have. Raiders Saints game.
Raiders.
I like what I don't know. I have no thoughts about this game, mainly because it's like I don't think the Raiders are good, but I don't think the Saints are bad. So like, where does this leave me now, right? Like,
So, in my mind, the Saints lost this game because of one play, and it was the interception Drew Brees threw. Because if I'm not mistaken, the Raiders went and scored their second touchdown off that interception, right?
Okay.
So if they don't score that touchdown and the Saints score a touchdown instead,
It's tied.
then it's tied. And at the end of the game, when the Raiders kick their field goal, they're kicking that field goal to tie the game, not to
Or win the game.
get a bigger lead. Right? So then you're giving the ball to Drew Brees with a minute left, down by 3.
Right.
So
All he needs is a field goal. They actually try to win instead of like waddling,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also the announcers were talking about like the sloppy play and by the Saints and how the Saints playing bad by their standards, but to me it looked a lot more like Michael Thomas is gone, Emmanuel Sanders isn't filling his role, and so Drew Brees was just forcing it down Alvin Kamara's throat the whole game by throwing it to him or handing it off to him, and that didn't work. Like he touched the ball 20.
Right. He almost had 1,000 or 100 receiving yards, which is not common for a running back.
22 times, and the next guy with the second most touches had 5. So that's a big difference in terms of offensive
only
production.
Had one catch.
On 4 targets, and his one catch was within the last 1 minute of the game.
Right. I feel like he had more just by watching the game. I don't know. Weird. Yeah, no. I don't. Yeah, this game for me, it's like honestly, the Saints should have won this game, but maybe like you said, it's like they don't have Michael Thomas, so maybe they just don't play as hard, right? Like in games where they don't have their number one receiver, they don't care. So I guess the Raiders are a playoff team.
I mean, they're a wild card,
right?
They're not going to beat the Chiefs.
No, they're a wild card at best. But even then, that's enough to give Gruden another 10-year extension, right? They make the playoffs once, and they're going to be like, "All right, Gruden, here's the rest of the money."
If the playoffs ended right now, they would be the number 1 wild card in the AFC. The Steelers are the only other team that's 2-0 that isn't winning their division. So, I mean, it's like the Raiders would be the 5 seed, the Steelers the 3, and then the Patriots the 4, and the Jaguars the 5. Or no, the Jaguars wouldn't make the playoffs, right? Yeah. The Patriots would be in. So it's just the Raiders right now have a shot, but I don't see them necessarily maintaining it.
It was. You're not on social media, but I am, and it was quite annoying. Literally, like a second before the game even ended, everyone just posting Raiders, oh, like 2-0, baby.
2-0.
Which I
Coming
don't.
for you, Chiefs.
Right? It's like, which I
Which
understand.
the Raiders have scored more points than the Chiefs this season.
Right.
Okay, let's not get it twisted. 68-57.
I
Someone's
don't.
looking like they got a better offense.
I don't know. Did you? Okay, let's pick the the Thursday night game, the Dolphins Jaguars. I'm gonna have to go with the Jags here. Just
Same.
the mustache for me does it. Gardner Minshew is gonna have a coming out party. All right? He's already had a bunch of those, but he's gonna have another one. All right, he's gonna have one of those Californian gender reveals with guns blazing, fire everywhere, baby. It's gonna be so hot in there. He burns down like 3 forests. All right, easy. But also the Dolphins are just slightly worse.
Yeah. The Dolphins are a competitive team, but they're not
Right.
going to win.
I think it's gonna be a nice bad game.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be like what was the game that happened? I think last year it's always the Thursday night football games
Right.
where it's like, because I remember it's Color Rush, and it's like either one team just completely annihilates the other team, or there's just a whole bunch of turnovers that completely throw the game out of whack, and it's so much more competitive than it should be.
Right. It's gonna be one of those messes. I don't know if you've heard about this one yet, but 3 NFL coaches were fined $100,000, and those coaches were the Broncos head coach Vic Fangio, the Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll, and the 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan. And they were fined that much money because they didn't wear a mask of any kind. And then the organizations themselves were fined $250,000 for those coaches' actions. Which I don't know if I don't think that affects anything like cap or anything. I think it's just money out of the owners' pockets.
Yeah, but
I think it's funny. I think it's funny.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Like,
just wear the
Pete
mask.
Carroll,
Just wear the mask.
Because he's like a pretty. He's got a strong personality.
Right. He'll do what he wants.
Vic Fangio is like, bro, you're the most at risk, bro.
you need this job,
man.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna die if you catch this, bro. Also,
Kyle Shanahan. I watched the game. I could have sworn he wore a mask, unless he was just holding up. I think that's it. He was holding up the.
That's what Sean McVay.
Most coaches do.
Sean McVay did that the entirety of game 1, and after the game, the NFL released a statement of like, please wear your mask. We're going to find you next week. Because literally the entire game, he had the mask on as like a chin strap and and held his play calling sheet above him, like in his face, like the coaches normally do. It's like, oh, you know what you could cover your face with? A mask.
Go get Andy
Reid face shield. I mean, I wish every coach got that. That would make my day. That would make my day.
But I remember watching the Patriots Seahawks game, and that's what Belichick had. He had his face mask under his chin for a majority of the game, or at least when the camera was on him.
Right. Which that mask did not fit his face at all. It really did not. He should have a better fitting mask. Let's talk about you. Let's do some real quick fantasy talk for a couple minutes here. How'd you do this week, John? Did you enjoy your time this week in fantasy?
Yeah, I won 154.22 to 130.78.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the 1 seed playing the 8 seed, which in our league is the bottom seed. So, not very fair.
To be fair, Saquon only got 2 points and he's out for the rest of the season. So Jordan's gonna have to go find a new running back.
I have 3 players with updated injury status in my lineup, bruh.
Yeah, no. Christian McCaffrey at least played a full game before dying. Okay, both the receivers did not
dead the whole time. Julio went into the game like, "Hey, I'm gonna be dead," and then Devontae Adams came out with the first quarter like, "Hey, I'm dead."
Right. So you really didn't have anything going into this game, which I mean, next week you'll be fine. Honestly, And you might need Ingram will be your I don't know. So you don't really need anything except a new defense, right?
Yeah.
Me on the other hand, I survived that week without having a single injury. Like, no one on my team got hurt.
Grim Reaper's coming for you next week.
Nah.
Be ready.
I'm one of the lucky few that survived the fantasy massacre without a single injury. It's coming though. Yeah, you're right. It is most definitely coming, but not before.
I'm excited for the standings of our league. So right now,
I'll be 5. I'll be 4 or 5.
Is I'm 1. Demetrius, who knows football, is 2. Isaiah, it's his first time playing.
No,
fantasy,
Demetrius he lost. He lost to Isaiah, so he'll be.
Yeah, but right now, based
okay.
off last week, so Isaiah's 3. Ivan's girlfriend is 4.
And then Ivan is 5.
Is 5. Ruben, it's also his first time playing fantasy, and he doesn't even know anything about football in general, and he's 6. You're 7, and Jordan's 8. Okay. After this week, I will be 1. Isaiah will go up to 2, and he's a rookie. Giselle, Ivan's girlfriend, will go up to 3. Demetrius will drop to 4.
No, I'll be ahead of him.
To 5.
I'll be probably 4.
Well, I don't think it would drop the number 2 guy down to 5.
Well, based off the point differential, I destroyed Ivan this week, and he got destroyed by T-Chang. So, based off point differentials, I think I'd beat him.
Both be at 300.
And I think
he'll have more points than you.
Will he?
Because he has 165 twice, and you have 132 and 192.
Yeah, okay. I think he'll be slightly above me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll jump to 5.
Jordan's the only one who's gonna stay up. Ruben's gonna go down 1. Jordan's gonna stay at the bottom, and Ivan's gonna go down 1. I feel bad for Ivan because he played me week 1, and I had the most points at 206, and he had 177. He would have beat anybody else if he'd played them.
In back-to-back weeks, he's played the person with the most fantasy points. Yeah. So he's not catching any breaks. Right? It's like he can't win. And even me, I messed up my flex position. I should have scored more points, right? It's like,
and looking at him, it's ironic because if he'd played me this week, he would have won.
Right.
If he'd played anyone except he had the 3rd most points in fantasy this week. So he's been 2nd and 3rd. He's 0-2.
Well, even then,
he keeps getting screwed.
Even then, I don't think he played his most optimized lineup either.
Mm-hmm.
So he has like a couple points to give, which I think it'd still leave him at 3rd, but still, right?
Yeah, it's like just literally just luck is not going his way, and it feels bad.
He'll need to find a new defensive lineman. He'll need to find a new running back. He's in a world of hurt. Jordan is in a world of hurt because his team's already bad, and his best player got murdered and is out for the rest of the season. Yeah. Which I don't think he's in a world of hurt. I think he's just like not in a good spot because his tight ends. He has 2 good tight ends. He has Leonard Fournette, which Leonard Fournette's not going to be that reliable, but he's still able to get you pop off for 20 points.
He texted me during like Sunday, and he's like, "Bro, I left 50 points on the bench. I should have won." And then at the end of the night, I'm like, "Okay, I left like 80 points on the bench. Okay, talk to me about."
Which I left 16 points on the bench. I should have started Keenan Allen in my flex over Nakeem Hines, which I truly did debate, but I was like, you know what? I know the rest of my roster.
Hyping him up.
I gotta commit. I had to commit. I was like, this is my guy, and this is no longer my guy. All right, I'm sorry. He's gonna get cut. There's just no way around that. Who he's gonna get replaced by? He's probably gonna get replaced by defense. Because I don't trust the Bills' defense this week against the Rams. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game. But I'm definitely going to keep the Bills around. Yeah. Other than that, fantasy was fantasy. It was very nice. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Any injury that we probably didn't discuss?
Oh, there's Hold on, I need to look it up.
Right, there were so many. We got to
That's
figure out.
um.
Wide receiver Sterling Shepard is out as well for the. Or wait, was he? Is he out for the rest of the year? Because he had a toe injury. Let's see. Do you? You know, this is a question while you're looking that up. Do you think Doug Peterson is gonna in the hot seat for this year, or do you think he still has like another year or two left? Like, if
I mean, he won the Super Bowl his
right,
second year as a head coach, so I think he's safe for a decent amount of time.
right. I think that Super Bowl is gonna carry him for at least another couple years. But Philadelphia is a very brutal place, and if you don't win now, which I mean, actually, no, they've been bad for a long time. I don't know. Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think Carson Wentz, on the other hand, might get shipped out. Same with Baker Mayfield and like Trubisky. If they don't play good enough, they'll get shipped out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is the thing I want to talk about. I've only found maybe this is NFL widespread, but I'm only finding it on the Eagles and the Steelers both wore Antoine Rose's names on the back of their helmets. Do you know who that is?
No
Or have
clue.
you heard of this?
No.
So Antoine Rose, they're doing it for racial justice, right? Antoine Rose, the Eagles and Steelers players were told that they were told by upper management in their teams that Antoine Rose was the victim of police and racial violence. He was
Right.
killed by police. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
when, but recently, right, they decided to put his name on the back of their helmets. Marquise Pouncey, the Steelers center, decided to do some research on Antoine Rose and found that the reason he was killed was because he was shot in a high-speed chase by the police because less than half an hour earlier he committed a drive-by and the police were chasing him and trying to get him, and they ended up having to resort to violence. So Marquise Pouncey is like, yo, Steelers, what the heck? You just had us blindly put the names of this criminal on the back of our helmets. This isn't the type of person, like, we're saying, like, this
Right.
isn't nonviolent police brutality. This is a man, a criminal who is breaking the law and killing, like, he literally killed people
Right.
half an hour before he died. Like, this isn't the same thing. So again, it's the Steelers. I expect this type of blunder from them. They're just a horrible run organization. They forced Alejandro Villanueva, the veteran, to apologize for not kneeling for the national anthem with them. Like, they're just a bad organization when it comes to stuff like this.
Right. They try
Um,
to look socially correct, but they just come out on like they try to do good things. Like, you know, we're with the people, right? But it doesn't work out the way they think it's gonna
doesn't
work
work out.
out. So that's stupid. That's
Yeah.
I mean, like, and you know, people are gonna spin this to be like way worse than what it really is. Like it's
Well, it's interesting though because Marquise Pouncey said this, but Minka Fitzpatrick and Eagles running back Miles Sanders both claim that they will still wear Antoine Rose's helmet or name on the back of their helmet,
no.
and I don't really know why.
Yeah, I mean, if it's obvious that like, you know, he shot people before getting shot himself, I feel like that's a majority of like the Black Lives Matter stuff is like we want to stop police from killing and shooting unarmed and innocent black people, and it's like that man was obviously not innocent or unarmed. So it's like why you I don't know, it's a messy situation. I don't know. It's just don't wear
Well,
his name. Wear someone
so
else
all
that's
this
obvious.
happened. Alejandro Villanueva, before the game, decided not to wear Rose's name on the back. He's the only Steeler who
Right.
didn't wear
Didn't
it,
he wear
and
like
he didn't get kicked.
a veteran name instead? Which
Probably.
I mean that's I have no problem
Yeah,
with
he
that
wore the
either.
name of an army sergeant who had died instead.
Right. I mean that's cool as well.
And then but Marquise Pouncey said he's the only one who said, I'm taking the name off. I'm
Right.
not wearing Antoine Rose, and because he's the only one who did it, who knew. But
Blindly.
But here's what Miles Sanders says. Miles Sanders says that he knew Antoine Rose personally, and the two went
Oh,
to Woodland Hills High School together.
that's probably what it is.
And so
Yeah.
he's wearing it as a way to honor his family. He says, I don't
Okay.
care what people think. I knew him personally. I knew him as a kid. I know it looks bad, but I'm still going to wear. He was still an unarmed black man when he was shot, and I'm still going to wear.
Okay. His is probably like, I know their parents, his parents, and they were good people,
Mhm.
and they like obviously don't deserve to have like hatred towards them or whatnot, you know. Which
But
it's
still,
a sticky,
the
it's a sticky
fact that
situation. Yeah.
the fact that the Steelers would go through with this to begin with, having not
When there's
done
so many other
really any
people
research,
that are
right? Like they
very
could have picked any other name. Like look at the back of a WNBA T-shirt and just pick any of those names,
right, like,
and instead they
or
went with
like,
this.
there's other NFL teams that have names that they think are good. Like those,
Hmm
like there are names out there that you could obviously
I
pick,
think
and just there wouldn't be
they
any issue
probably
with it.
picked Antoine because it happened in Pittsburgh,
Mm,
but even then, I mean, you need to make sure as a professional organization that you have all your ducks in a row before you commit to something.
right, right. You know, it's rough. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
All right. Is
All
that
right,
all you got?
that's all I got. Half the league died this past week. It's gonna be very interesting when we do our pickups on Friday. Yeah, that's really all I have. Honestly, I thought after this week we'd have a better idea of what teams are good and what teams are bad, and I have no clue. I genuinely have no clue anymore because of just how many injuries there were.
Mhm.
All right, well, that's all for today. Thank you all for watching / or listening. Have a good one. Bye.